Hello everybody, welcome back to Jubes & Co. With me, Michelle Dewberry. Now look, regular viewers will know we like the rough and tumble of political debate in this studio, and I also feel very, very passionately about law and order. We often talk, don't we, about crimes that take place on our streets. We often talk about statistics, but what about the actual real-life impact, real-world impact when crime actually happens, when it's no longer a statistic, when it's no longer a far-off headline, but it's actually somebody and something that affects you, your life, your family, your home. Joining me in the studio right now is a man that I have huge admiration and respect for. He's a man called Martin Cosser. Martin was on the programme once before. His son, you might remember this story, 17-year-old son Charlie, he was stabbed. He went to a party back in July 2023. He was stabbed 4 times and he fought bravely for his life. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to win that fight. When he passed away, his father, Martin, made a promise to Charlie, twofold promise. The first one was to get justice when it came to his murderer. This was a TikTok that he released, and TikTok is a big part of the story, and we'll explain why, but this was a TikTok that he released immediately after he got that justice for his son. Take a listen.
Gone in, we've had the verdict, and he's guilty on both counts. Guilty for first-degree murder, guilty for carrying and taking a weapon there. He killed our son, but he's guilty. We just have to work on getting his name out there now, but he's guilty. He's guilty.
Thank you, Martin, for coming in again.
No, it's lovely to see you.
And I wanted to take us back to that moment because the promise that you made, I mean, any parents, grandparents, what you've been through is just unimaginable. That raw moment there. What was going through your mind? You made your promise to get justice for your son.
Yeah.
That was you achieving it.
Yeah, I'd come out, we'd just been given, we'd been told that he'd been found guilty, and my emotions just took over. It was in the moment. We were having so many people supporting us and following us, friends, family, and people on TikTok, and I've been updating them every day throughout the trial, and it got to that moment, and I just didn't think about it. I picked the phone up and like, he's guilty, and it was raw emotion, and I posted and almost forgot about it, and I went back on about an hour later. First of all, I saw the video and I was like, oh my God, that looks terrible. That's how I felt. But I'd had about 1 million views, and I thought, you know, that was a moment in time that was real. And
why these views are important, because I'm not somebody who gets into the culture of clicks this and views that, but this matters. And the reason it matters is because the second part of your promise to your son was to raise awareness, to campaign, to get directly into the lives, the hearts and the homes and the schools of young people. Tell us more about that.
Well, look, I saw Charlie lying in intensive care. He'd lost every milligram blood in his body. He had a ruptured bowel, ruptured spleen. He'd had 2 traumatic cardiac arrests. And he was lying there helpless, and I knew I needed to do something. I just knew I had to, and I promised him that I'd spend the rest of my life educating young groups of children about the dangers and the impacts of knife crime, which is why my charity is called Charlie's Promise. That led to us registering last year as a charity. I've now spoken to 50,000 young people in the last year. But about 13 weeks after Charlie's murder, I did my first talk. Looking back now in reflection, it was too soon. It's very emotional for me, but I did it with a reformed gang member that I sometimes work with, and he filmed a bit, and he said, do you mind if I put it on TikTok? And I wasn't even aware of TikTok. I was like, TikTok, tickety-tock, you know, what's that? I didn't even know what that is. Go on then. And he came back to me a few weeks later, and he said, your video had 1 million views, and something clicked for me. It's a very lonely place when you've had your child murdered, particularly as a man. Men aren't very good. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And I actually find it really therapeutic talking into a screen. I joined TikTok as a way of showing the impact that it's had on me as Charlie's dad. Those moments that have been stolen from me, his birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases, you know, all of these times that are just, again, real highlights that Charlie isn't there, and I suddenly started getting like loads of people following me, and I think they're just real, really, and that's what I am, Michelle. You know, they're authentic, they're emotive, they're raw, but they're real. You know, I record moments. Charlie's 18th birthday We were planting a tree for Charlie on his 18th birthday, 12 weeks after his murder. I recorded it because I wanted people to see the damage that's done. Yeah.
And this is the thing, and this is why I think it matters. I mean, you've got, there's a documentary, it goes live tonight, TikTok murder gone viral.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you do with your messaging is not only to spread awareness, Riz, you want to try and inspire people not to pick up those knives in the first place. I saw one of your videos, you was explaining stab, 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 a few seconds. That's what it takes to lose not just the victim's life, but the perpetrator's life as well.
The minute we got that knock on the door at 12:30 in the early hours of the 23rd of July, with 2 police officers standing there who knew my name, telling me my son had been stabbed and that he was critical, our world changed forever in that moment. But the reality is the action leading up to that is somebody makes a decision and thinks it's sensible to pick up a knife, then take it out, and that 2-3 seconds of pure violence, hatred and aggression against a young man that wouldn't even have had an argument with anybody has destroyed the people I love most in this world. I cannot articulate to you what it has done. You know, I know you've had your own.
I was about to say, unfortunately,
you have. No, bless you.
I'm in the same gang as you.
Yeah.
We've had that knock on the door.
You have.
And it's changed. I lost
Forgive
my
me.
sister.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I lost my sister, and I'm very open about it. It's her birthday. It would have been her birthday tomorrow as it happens. And I know, and that's one of the reasons that I'm really keen always to share your story as well, because I know you never, ever get over it. We, as a family...
Tara still sleeps with the light on.
Yeah, exactly.
She sleeps with the light on. She messages Charlie every day, even though his phone's in a box in his room with the last clothes that he ever wore, that sit next to a half-eaten pack of sweet chili nuts, that sit next to his ashes. Why are his ashes there? Because we walk around graveyard after graveyard, crematorium after crematorium, couldn't find anybody his age. If I'm not doing a talk, and I'm in schools every single day, and I do keynote speaking in the evenings, I go to bed at 7 o'clock every night because I can't sit in my lounge. I've been away 3 times on my own just to breathe. I've had friends that I've had for decades that I barely hear from. My daughter, Eloise, she was 15 years old when she watched her brother die. 15! When her friends were doing a GCSE, something she'd worked really hard for. She was at her brother's murder trial. You know, teachers at her school ignored her. And when I challenged it, I was told it was hard for them. They didn't know what to say. Well, let me tell you this. My daughter had to visit her brother at 15 in a chapel arrest after a Home Office post-mortem. That's hard.
I know. Well, I've been that child when I was 17. I've been in that situation myself, and it's awful, and you will never, ever get over it.
No.
What can my viewers do to help, to get involved, to help spread the word? Charlie's Promise, tell them more. Yeah,
I'll tell you what you can do. You can use my son as an example, of what can happen. I think Tara and I, my wife, as parents, never spoke to our children about knife crime because we knew they wouldn't carry knives. What we didn't legislate for was the behaviour and actions of other people. And I think Charlie's story, our story, just a normal family, you know, has to be an example of what can happen. The night Charlie was stabbed, there were missed opportunities. A shank was mentioned twice and a knife once by my son's murderer. The mum was at home at the farmhouse in West Sussex that night and nobody did anything about it. You know, we don't blame those young kids, but nobody did anything about it. The reality is, if someone had gone to the mum that night and told her that they'd heard there was a knife or called the police, my son would still be alive. And I'd like to say one last thing, if I may.
You cool?
Urivaribus, my son's murderer, he was known to carry a knife. We've heard this since Charlie's murder. And again, no one had done anything about it. There's an organisation called Fearless. Fearless is part of Crime Stoppers, and it enables young people to report knife carriers 100% anonymously without the fear of any retribution, OK? It's completely anonymous. And by contacting Fearless, you can do it on 0800 555 111 or at fearless.org. By reporting that person, you need to understand you may just save a life. And that is the reality. No family should have to live like my family lives.
Well, God bless you. And what a powerful message. And I echo what Martin just said. You've got to check your children. You've got to check bedrooms. You've got to have conversations, the hard conversations. But for now, we wish you all the very best with your documentary and also with your activism and your campaigning. Thank you very much for sharing your story with our viewers.
Thank you.